It is often said that the most painful aspect of losing one's memory is not the act of forgetting itself, but rather the haunting reality of being forgotten by others. Evelyn is the name I go by. Have reached the age of 63. Have shared 38 years of marriage with Richard. Once he held the esteemed title of Professor Contemplation of Existence, outstanding as piercing as crystal. In the quiet of the night he would read to me from the pages of Yeats and Frost, and on those particularly dramatic evenings he would delve into the soothing cadence of his voice, would lull me into slumber, weaving its way through the shadows of the night. That was in the past. Each day I find myself reciting our Wi-Fi password to him 6 times. I meticulously label the drawers in our kitchen. I gently remind him which toothbrush belongs to him. When I utter his name, he occasionally glances my way as if I were a familiar face from the congregation, someone he knows but cannot quite place. On that initial occasion when he overlooked our anniversary, tears streamed down his face. For the second time he inquired, "I'm sorry, what day is it?" On the third occasion I ceased to offer reminders. I believe my love for him has never truly faded, yet I believe he ceased to understand how to love me in return. When his doctor proposed therapy for my benefit, not his, I felt a surge of indignation. I assured him that I was perfectly fine. He gazed at me and remarked, "Caregivers break down more silently than anyone else." As I ventured forth, dear Samuel Reeves appeared to be more youthful than I had anticipated, perhaps 38, possessing a serene composure that instilled a sense of assurance, as if no revelation could possibly rattle him. He donned simple attire devoid of any wedding band. A subtle aroma of bergamot mingled with the scent of well-loved books in his office. He inquired about my well-being. I insisted that I was all right. He lingered in anticipation. The stillness lingered. I blinked with effort and murmured, "I'm weary." He gave a slight nod and inscribed a few words on the page. He inquired, "When was the last occasion you indulged in something solely for your own sake?" Chuckle escaped my lips. Laundry smile graced his lips. Yet I was not released from my obligations. Our encounters unfolded each week. It wasn't until I caught myself selecting earrings on Thursday mornings that I recognized my anticipation for the occasion merely as precaution. I recounted tales that had faded from Richard's memory concerning the circumstances of our encounter, the manner in which he made his proposal, the melody that accompanied our first dance as a married couple. He inquired about what I longed for the most. Remarked the moment when he would gaze me. Dear Reeves remained silent for an extended period. Then he uttered a phrase that sent a chill through my veins. "And how long has it been since someone gazed at you in that way?" Remained silent due to my inability to tickle. I'm uncertain about when the change began to unfold. Perhaps it was the moment I wept during our session and he offered me a tissue, his voice soft, as he said, "You're allowed to fall apart too, Evelyn." Or the moment I confessed that I occasionally dreamt of gathering my belongings and vanishing into thin air. Not that I wished to part ways with Richard, yet I found myself at a loss, unable to remain while still embracing the essence of life. Here, Reeves offered no judgment, he simply absorbed the words, truly attentive. Times I ponder that true seduction lies in the act of being acknowledged in a world that often overlooks your presence. I never intended to experience any emotions, yet there were instances, delicate quivering instances when I sensed acknowledged not in the role of a caregiver, not merely as a spouse, merely as a woman, filled me with dread, for I was acutely aware of the incline beneath my feet. Even then I could sense myself inclining eagerly ahead. It was an unremarkable Tuesday in the 3rd month when he inquired if I struggled with sleep. Nearly every evening, I remarked, yet it is not due to Richard. He refrained from pressing. He regarded me with that familiar, patient stillness, as if time itself were an endless resource at my disposal. Thus I continued to speak. It is the stillness that disturbs my rest. Last he drifts into slumber. As the dishwasher hums softly in the shadows of the darkened house, I find myself enveloped in a sense of solitude, as if I could vanish into the night unnoticed until the dawn breaks. Dear Reeves placed his notepad on the table. He remarked, "You appear to be a woman who hasn't felt a gentle hand in quite some." I raised my gaze. His voice bore no trace of judgment, not even longing, simply observation, veracity. I remained silent, yet I sensed my breath falter. My stomach flutters. Suddenly my ring finger felt constricted, as if the very air around it had thickened. At evening I lingered before the mirror, lost in thought more than I typically would. I removed my wedding ring, not from a sense of guilt, merely a matter curiosity. The tan line beneath it appeared as a void, resembling a faded mark from the past. I slid it back on. Yet an unfamiliar sensation lingered. Rest eluded me last night. Fingers grazed against mine. Fleeting touch over the surface of a coffee table, lingering in the realm of dreams. In the following session I presented banana bread. He offered a smile. He mentioned that his mother prepared it that way, with walnuts. We engaged in a conversation about the minutiae of life. Growing older, melody tempestuous, downpours. I shared with him the memory of dancing barefoot on the cool tile of the kitchen with Richard. He inquired about the last occasion. "Cannot recall," he murmured. "I wager you still recall how?" His hand remained distant from mine, yet it remained nearby. As I reached for my bag later, our fingers brushed against one another. Only just. Yet the embrace of its warmth trailed behind me as I returned home. 2 weeks later the rain fell steadily. I arrived ahead of schedule. Silence enveloped the office. He extended an invitation for a mile. I lingered by the window. As he poured, I glanced back to express my gratitude. He advanced with measured intent, merely a touch so near that I could sense the electric charge between us crackling in the atmosphere. "You have a way of standing like that," he whispered, "as if you're preparing for a collision." I chuckled, a sound barely escaping my lips. "Perhaps I am." His gaze sought out my own. Then his hand rose slowly with care and brushed against my face, fingertips grazing the jawline, a gesture imbued with reverence rather than romance. I remained steadfast, unwilling to retreat. In that instant, the world around me faded away, dismissed the chamber, the downpour, the band. What lingered in my mind was the sensation of being noticed and caressed, as if I truly held significance. His thumb grazed a tear I hadn't known had slipped down my cheek. He remained silent. I did not either. Yet on that night the visions returned to me once more of being embraced. And in the dream I was not Evelyn the caregiver, was simply Evelyn. During the following session our words were few and far between. I settled into my seat, adjusted my skirt, and he inquired as expected, "How was your week?" Yet in that moment, neither of us truly heard a word. There was an electric tension in the atmosphere, something primal. Responded with ambiguous phrases. He nodded with an air of practiced professionalism. We swirled around a memory we both cherished yet left unspoken. At last he remarked, "You appear more subdued today." I gazed down. My hands. I feel vibrant yet solely within. He remained silent. Allow the silence to linger until I shatter it on my own. I'm uncertain about our direction. He nodded with deliberate slowness. We find ourselves perched upon precipice. I chuckled, devoid of moisture, and we're finding that it's firm earth beneath us. He gazed at me, blend of longing and remorse flickering in his eyes. On the Thursday that followed, I chose not to go to the office. I sent him a message. Would it be possible for us to meet at a different location? His reply came in a heartbeat. Park lies just off Glendale. Midday upon my arrival, he was already there, waiting, casual attire, with a warm cup of coffee cradled in my hand, without a notepad, without the relentless ticking of a clock behind us. We strolled onward. I've just taken a amidst the golden leaves and the serene quiet of early autumn. Once our hands brushed against each other on the other hand, and on the third occasion, they remained united. It was a subtle occurrence, an enigmatic matter, yet the warmth enveloped me as if I had been shivering for an eternity, unaware of my own chill. We lingered on a bench under a tree, its leaves fading into the embrace of autumn. He glanced my way and remarked, "There's no need for you to say anything. I found myself yearning to be close to you. I ought to have distanced myself." In that moment, I inclined my body forward, leaned my head gently against his shoulder. He remained still. He simply inhaled and exhaled, and so did I. The initial kiss did not take place in the park. 3 days later, it unfolded in the back seat of his car. Amidst a sudden deluge, our paths crossed at the pharmacy. Here, happenstance, perhaps not, kindly proposed to take me home. The vehicle sat idling in front of my home, its wipers persistently swishing back and forth. Silence enveloped us, merely gazed out at the rain. He then shifted his gaze towards me. I gently swept a lock of hair away from my cheek and kissed me slowly, with a hint of inquiry. Trembling with uncertainty, I returned his kiss. In that instant, fracture echoed within me. Years of silence, of servitude, of existing as the mere backdrop in another's existence, all of it shattered. He embraced me as if I were delicate and sacred, as if I were a figure etched in memory. As we finally separated, I gazed at my reflection in the glass. My cheeks burned with a rosy hue. My lips were gently parted. I appeared vibrant. For the first time in years, I found no shame in my desire for more. The dawn of my 64th birthday arrived devoid of blooms. Richard lingered by the stove, his gaze fixed on a pan of eggs, blinking in quiet contemplation. Silence enveloped him, words unspoken. Not a single good morning. He had let it slip from his mind. I bided my time until the sun hung low in the afternoon sky before revealing my thoughts to him. I wished to avoid diminishing his sense of self, yet I yearned, craved to be acknowledged. He blinked, a look of bewilderment crossing his face. "Is it your birthday?" Then with a bashful chuckle, "You look great for 60. His intention was to justice, yet it sliced deeper than reality. As dusk settled, Samuel dispatched a message. Please open your front door. I certainly did. Solitary white envelope lay upon the mat. Within, a note inscribed in neat, purposeful script: you once shared with me your fondness for cinnamon. Turn around. The porch railing behind me rested a paper bag, its warmth still lingering. Within lies a pair of warm cinnamon rolls from the charming bakery on 8th Street, the one I alluded to in a casual remark 2 months prior. He recalled. That night I encountered him not within the confines of his vehicle. He is not present at his office, yet within the confines of the motel on Hawthorne Inn, room 217. He swung the door wide just as my hand was poised to knock. I crossed the threshold. He kissed me as if I were something delicate and essential, as though this were not merely an affair, but rather a profound reclamation. We peeled away our layers with a hesitant, trembling grace, like peeling back the layers of a hidden truth, one that neither of us wished to reveal to anyone beyond ourselves. He observed it all. The creases, the sagging flesh, the intricate narrative of time etched upon my form. And still he caressed me as if I were woven from the very fabric of the cosmos. As he entered me, tears streamed down my face, not born of suffering, from the profound, heart-wrenching solace of being desired. In the aftermath we found ourselves enveloped in a profound silence. He drew gentle circles on my back. The motel ceiling fan whirred above me, its rotation languid and weary as I gazed up in contemplation. Do you believe we are inherently flawed? I inquired. He paused before responding. No, he replied at last. Seems we are merely individuals who have remained silent for far too long. I inclined my head in acknowledgement. Then she whispered, he forgot my birthday. Samuel pressed his lips gently against my forehead. Your voice has remained etched in my memory. And that night I found myself believing him, even if only for a fleeting moment. The conclusion arrived, not through conflict, concluded with soft murmur. Samuel found himself in my kitchen. The morning light sprawled across the floor, reminiscent of milk carelessly poured out. His hands rested comfortably in the confines of his buckets. The coffee grew cold as it sat between us. His decline is accelerating, I remarked. Richard. Samuel nodded. His gaze weighted with fatigue. You must be with him, he murmured softly. Parted my lips to contest, to express a courageous thought. Yet all I could muster was a single breath. I harbor no regrets, I murmured softly. He moved nearer, grasped my hands gently and pressed his lips to my knuckles. You showed me the art of listening, he remarked. We held back our tears. Not at that moment. We lingered in the silence, two souls striving to etch a farewell into our memories. A note was left on the counter. I have yet to open. I am unable to do that. Not at this moment. Silence enveloped the days once more. Once Richard addressed me by his sister's name, then by his mother's, and I chose not to correct him. In the quiet of the evenings I find myself seated beside him. Times I find